Welcome to Monster Monday. So tonight I am doing a Patreon request for Ray Robinson. I have been meaning to do a review for this guy for a while, so I hope this makes my puppy happy. You'll know what I'm talking about if you know Ray Robinson. If you don't, you're like, what the hell? A puppy? Happy puppy? Yes. Okay, you're just gonna have to not be in the know on that if you don't know Ray. All right, so the Boogens, he says it once in this movie. This old guy in the thing, he says it when they pop up out of the water or something. He's like the Boogens or something. But I really think that's the only reference to their name in this movie. Did I miss another reference? I was actually trying to pay attention to this one pretty well. I should do that with every movie I watch. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes I do fuck around on my phone. That's why there are mistakes in my videos every once in a while. And I give people shit for fucking around on their phones, but some of these are so boring and so uninteresting that I do get so fucking bored. And I'm like, oh God, I'm looking up like trivia on the movie and stuff. I'm not trying to ignore the movie. I'm actually trying to get something interesting to talk about. All right, so this movie, we got the setup here. We got in 1888, there is a silver strike in this town, and there are miners, and they're down there, and they're digging caverns, and, you know, they're going too deep greedily, like the dwarves in Middle-earth, and they awake a Balrog. No, they awake the Boogens, the boogers, the something. And I'll tell you this, I would never go and do any kind of mining at all. I was recently looking up, because, you know, hair is something that I'm wishy-washy with sometimes. Sometimes I'm not all that big on it, and sometimes I want to get out of it. So recently I've been looking to try to get out of it, and I looked up like the fastest growing jobs or the most in-demand jobs or whatever in Arizona, and number one was miner. I was like, oh, hell no. You couldn't get me in a mine for nothing. Those guys that go down there, holy shit, man. Hats off to those guys for being able to pull all the ore and all the stuff that they do out. It's much appreciated. You guys do some incredible stuff, but you ain't finding my ass in one of those things for no reason. The idea of a cave-in is terrifying to me. Absolutely mortifying. So just anytime there's a movie, because this movie kind of reminds me of a blend between The Descent and My Bloody Valentine. That's what the vibes I was getting from this. It was like My Bloody Valentine, like this mining town, and a bunch of young kids that are wanting to get together and have sex and play pool at the local watering hole and whatnot, and then the creatures that they awaken within the caverns when they go too deep in there. And so it kind of that was the blend here. Overall, I found this movie to have some charm to it. I know that Rebecca Reinhardt and Ray Robinson are obviously really big on this. This is why he requested it. I had never seen this movie before. Overall, I liked it okay. I wasn't big on it. I wasn't a huge fan. I did feel like it was very slow at times and dragged along. And I think that in those moments, if maybe it's a nostalgic film, you'll see it as atmosphere, and you'll be accustomed to the characters and like them much more than I personally did. Characters in this movie, they were okay. They were fine. They weren't bad. They weren't great. I didn't love anyone in this movie. It wasn't any character that I was like, oh, I like him, or oh, she's great. The girls are pretty. I mean, it's not that they're not. There's some nudity in this, which is nice, of course, and whatnot. But yeah, so the girls are attractive. The characters aren't bad. I just didn't find them all that interesting. I didn't find them all that funny or relatable, or, you know, they were definitely products of their time. The hairstyles, the way that they were talking about stuff, it all felt very 80s, early 80s. Anyway, so yeah. There's a pretty funny moment here, almost a meta moment, where this girl is driving down the road and she's on the ice, and a deer walks out in front of her, and she's like, oh shit, and she hits the brakes and goes into a ditch, and then they get like a close-up shot of her window sticker, which is a bumper sticker that says, I break for animals. I thought that was pretty funny. But man, let me tell you, in the 80s, people were much different. This girl wrecks her car into a freaking ditch out in the ice on a road and just leaves it. Just gets out of her car, walks home, gets on the phone with somebody because she don't have no cell phone. Gets on the phone with like her boyfriend or somebody, and she's just like, she's talking to this person for like a minute or two before even mentioning that she got into a wreck. She's like, oh, well, my car's in a ditch. I kind of I just left it there for now, whatever. Like, she doesn't even mention it. Are you kidding me? If this happened to somebody now, it would be on Facebook or social media in 10 seconds, and it would be a woe is me, my life sucks, look at me, I have the most problems, you've never had more problems than me. It would be the one up after one up. Ugh. It's just, you look at people back then who had way more problems than we do now. It's true. They did. In my opinion, and they just didn't have a soapbox to fucking preach to everybody instantaneously on. So I don't know. It just wasn't a big deal to her, and it's not like this is just a movie. That's just how things were. Like, I remember this before social media, before cell phone, before all this stuff. People were just tougher. They mentally, physically, it just feels like that. I could be wrong, but it's just the way it feels. Yeah, anyway. All right. And she doesn't even call a tow truck or anything. She just leaves this car on the side of the road, which I found to be kind of suspect. Like, really? Like, you came around a corner and almost hit a deer, so you slid into it. It seems very irresponsible. It's like, you should call somebody. But maybe 24-hour tow truck, roadside assistance kind of stuff wasn't like, I mean, this is a small town. This is a small mining town. There ain't no fucking tow truck drivers up at like, midnight, 1 in the morning. It's like, I got a call in the morning and I'll have them get it out. If I can't walk back there and do it myself, hopefully 3 other cars aren't crashed into the back of me and they all just walk home and they just keep letting cars hit one over there. That'd be fucking hilarious. So then these guys are going down into the mines. They are looking at the maps, and on the maps they're wrong because there's supposed to be 2 tunnels, but there's 3 tunnels, and they're like, what the hell? Everyone in this movie seems to dislike this dog a whole bunch. It's funny how much shit they give this dog in this movie, but I thought that was pretty funny. And then, so these guys, sorry, I wanted to throw that in there in the middle. I guess I'm kind of jumping on all over the place here, but so these guys are going in the caverns, and then they find this path that's supposed to not be there, so they take it, and they find a skull, a fucking blatantly obvious human skull, and the guy pulls it up, and he's looking at it, he dusts it off, and they're all looking at it, and he's like, it looks human. It looks human, and they're like, yeah, it does. Like, did that even need to be said? I'm pretty sure we know what our skulls look like, and they look nothing like any other fucking animal, even apes or anything. No, a human skull. It is so clearly a human skull. Then they find a pile of bones, like not like bones of a person that like died and laid down that way, and their body is still, the shape of a human, where your leg bones and all your bones are all up in order of one another. No, they're all like just. It's like they took a whole slew of bones and just piled them together and threw them out on top of each other. And like, one of these guys, the guy who realizes this, is an electrical engineer. This is what he went to college for. So we can't say these guys are just dumb miners or something in a small town. No. One of them clearly states that he went to college and is smart. I mean, to be an electrical engineer, you gotta be pretty fucking smart. But after being down there for hours in this extremely well-lit cave, they always do this in these movies, which if you do it too dark, like in Game of Thrones episode 3, people complain because they're like, I can't see anything. But then if you do it light and you can see, people are like, what? It's so fucking, what are you doing? You couldn't see that well in that area. It's like, come on, there's no winning. So anyway, but he notices after being down there with a bunch of, like, 2 other guys for a while, he's like, wait a minute. why are these bones all jumbled up like this? Like, if they died, wouldn't their bones just more be in order and not all mushed together? And the guy's like, hey, you're right. Really? Fucking really? I'm supposed to buy that these guys didn't realize that instantaneously? Come on. That it was so stupid and hilarious when he said it. All right. And so the main guy, or one of the main guys in this, he's just trying to get laid. He is a hornball. He wants to get to his girlfriend. And fuck, it's been like 11 days, 12 hours, 2 seconds. He's got it down to the second. And I don't think he actually gets laid, but his buddy does, who's making fun of him for it the whole time. He gets to fuck the new girl, but the dude never does get to have sex with his girl. Poor guy. I feel really bad for this guy. But when he gets attacked by the thing under the car, the Bogen or whatever it is, he doesn't seem all that startled. He doesn't really seem all that worried about it. Like, the way he tries to exit out of the garage after this thing attacks him under the car, he's just kind of like, huh. Like, what was that just fucking yanked me under a car and scratched the hell out of me and had all this strength? Like, huh, was that a raccoon or what was that? His reaction to it is hilariously bad. Because later in the movie, one of the main girls here, the pool hustler girl, the girl that he's trying to bang throughout the movie, gets attacked, and her reaction is completely how it would be. She's screaming, she's freaking out, but I guess men are tough, and when they're attacked by monsters, it's not a big deal. And the dog is ripped right through the floor. I thought that was nuts. I was like, oh wow, they went for that. Holy shit, poor dog. Now the girl that the guy was, God, I need to start writing names down. I always say that. I'm probably never gonna do it. But it's Jessica. Yeah, Jessica. Yeah, Jessica, the girl that was trying to have sex with the boy, the pool hustler girl. Because they always got to make the girl like a man. Like, oh, she can't do manly things. She can drink beer. She can play pool. Like, you know, no one would ever believe. Like, the way they do it, it's so lame. I can't stand when they do that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to get too into it here. Just, I don't like the way they do that stuff. It's silly to me. But anyway, so Jessica, what the hell is keeping this girl's towel up? If I try to put a towel around my body and like stuff it in as hard as I can, if I walk even 20 feet fast or move around too much, it falls off every fucking time. I can't get a towel to stay. And this girl has a towel just tucked in up on here on her chest, and she's running and she's getting thrown around and she's falling and she's this and that. That towel never moves at all for any reason. I was laughing. I was like, how the fuck is she hot glue this towel to herself? How the hell is this towel staying on? And then she gets a cut on her face by a Bogen. Now, maybe it has, like, you know, poison in its little tail stinger thing. But it hits her, and she, like, instantly dies. I was talking about this in my Slasher Sunday video that I just recorded. I'm doing these back to back. But yeah, this is the movie. Hilarious. Just, like, she gets a couple cuts, like, on her chest or something, but she gets cut across the face and, like, instantly, like, just drops dead. And I'm like, a cut on your face, a laceration on your face would not instantly kill you. Yes, you might bleed out after a long while, but a cut on your face is not going to kill you instantaneously unless it goes through your skull and into your brain. Then maybe. No, then for sure. No, not all for sure, because they've had like people who have pipes in their heads, like through their brains, and they're still alive somehow. Of course, we have the old man trying to warn them and stop them, and he freaking brings like dynamite in, and yeah, this character is just so overplayed. Even at this point, I feel like it's overplayed. The deputy does the whole like Halloween 2, but he's not breathing, and like puts his face like right next to the Bogen after it's been killed. And then it just grabs onto his face. The design of the creatures in this movie, stupid, really silly, not scary in the slightest. Like, really poor creature design. I thought it was hilarious when I saw it. I was like, what is that little cute thing? It looks like a freaking Squirtle or something from Pokemon. Isn't that thing? I don't know Pokemon very well, but I think in my head that's what that like green turtle thing's called, right? The Squirtle. That's what it looked like an evil version. And then there's a boarded up mine shaft in the basement of this house, and it's like really shittily boarded up. Like, okay, interesting. I guess that's possible. Hey, they did it in Demon Knight, right? Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. Why not? So then they run into the mine and they find the guy and he has dynamite and they go and they blow the entrance up and that's the end of the movie. But isn't there tunnels that lead to every house in town? Like, wouldn't this just be like the beginning of the problem? Like, okay, we blew up the entrance, but now we need to go warn the town. There's freaking tunnels that lead right into people's houses in this town. Like, they didn't all die from that one bit of dynamite in there. They have like a whole cavern with the cavern, like their area is so clearly a set, not like a organically occurring cavern. It's hilarious looking. It's like, it looks like a pool almost. Like, has like really smooth round edges as it falls into the water. It looks like a nice little resort spa or something. But yeah, just like, do they think the problem is like contained or like done for? It's just begun. So there are Boogens 2 that I'm unaware of because it needs to happen. But maybe a new design on the Boogens because I thought they were pretty stupid looking. But maybe with like modern day technology, they could make them like stand up or like move really crazy, and I don't know, maybe it'd be more fun. Overall, there was some fun to be had in here for sure. I enjoyed it at times. Other times I was a little bored, but outside of that, I had a good time. Thank you, Ray Robinson. You're amazing. You've always been such a light on my group. Anytime you ever post, it's always positivity, even when you're being negative. You're the most positive, negative person I've ever met. When you're ever being negative, which is very rare, you give films complete, like Ray Robinson, man, this is a guy who really gives everything a chance. I've met a few people like that in my groups. Teddy Brown is one of these people. Paul Shunk is another person like that. I love people like that. I love people who will go and they will actually watch low budget nonsense. Ray usually sticks a little more to the older low budget nonsense, which is a lot of what horror fans can do. But like Teddy and them, they'll actually give like the low budget nonsense shit that everyone looks past. The stuff you see on Amazon Prime and whatnot. I love that kind of stuff. I love that people will give those chances because there are gems out there. You never know. There's movies that have shit ratings and terrible covers and uninteresting synopsises, and it's like synopses maybe. And no one ever gives them a chance. And some people do every once in a while, and I have, and a lot of times I've been burned, but then other times I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm like, wow, I got to go recommend the shit out of this to people. Everyone hated it, and I dug it, which seems to be the exact opposite of the Child's Play movie right now. I seem to be in the minority on that movie, which is crazy, and I'm actually getting comments in the fucking, in the little comment section below of people being like, oh, this guy just is cynical, and this and that. Me? I'm cynical. I got movies. Fuck off. Fuck you. You don't know my channel. You don't know me. You don't know my life. All right, anyway. Ray, you're amazing. Everyone else I mentioned, you're amazing. Whoever's watching this still at this point is amazing. Go check it out. I watched it on YouTube. I'll try to remember to leave a link below to where you can watch it. If not, I do think there are copies of it out there. I don't know if this ever got a Blu-ray or anything, but it's a fun time. It's slower at times, but not something I would say completely pass over. If you're a big monster freak of the 80s and you haven't seen this, it's definitely one to check out. So, adios.